Okay.
Good evening. The board has now returned from closed session and will begin the regular session of the Keys Union School District Board of Trustees. Sorry, we're running a little bit late. 4.1, report out closed session items. We had nothing to report out. And we have to approve the amendment of 4.2, approval amendment of agenda. I have two items. 7.4 was added on and 7.12. Is there anything else?
No other agenda items, no.
Dana, we good? Do we have a motion to approve with the two updates?
I'll make that motion.
We have a first, we have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Moving on to flag salute. Girls, you want to lead it? You're our new regulars. You're always here. We appreciate it.
Right.
Everyone please stand for the pledge. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Moving on to item 6, invitation to address the Board of Trustees. We have none. Moving on to announcements. It's a long one. It's getting towards the end of the year. 7.1, Spratling Middle School staff versus 8th grade softball game is April 13th at 11 a.m. It's tomorrow. I'll be playing. Jeff, you playing? Mike, you gonna go play some softball? Only chance you can hit a ball over some kids' heads?
I think he'd strike out.
That would be me, yeah.
Moving on to 7.2, Keys to Learning Core Academy Talent Show is April 14th. 7.3, Spring Break is no school, April 15th to the 24th. Spring Trustee Dinner is April 26th at 5:30 in Modesto. I believe we're all going. Moving on to 7.5, Keys Elementary School Coffee with the Principals, April 26th. Is that Zoom in person? Time? All right. Keys to Learning Charter PTA hosted zoo field trip, April 29th. Sign me up. Just kidding. Moving on to Keys to Learning Charter Pentathlon is April 30th. Spratling Middle School May Art Contest is due May 2nd. Spratling Middle School Keys 5th grade orientation, May 6th. Spratling Middle School open house is May 12th. Do we have times on that? All right. Moving on to 7.11, Keys to Learning Charter Senior Grad Night is May 13th. 7.12, Spratling Middle School 8th grade banquet dance bus drive will be May 23rd. 7/13 is Spratling Middle School 8th grade promotion graduation, May 25th. 7.14, Keys to Learning Charter Junior High promotion is May 26th. 7.15, Keys to Learning Charter High School graduation, May 27th. They added a bunch of May so we can keep track, and it's going to come up on you really fast. Moving on to item 8, staff reports. We've read the staff reports. Any questions? All right. Moving on to 8.2, Spratling Middle School Student Council.
Good evening, everyone. We are the student representatives for Spratling Middle School. I am Jocelyn Jimenez, the president of Student Council. Hello, I'm Roxana Orozco, and I'm the vice president of Student Council. The first topic we will be talking about is the animal shelter donation drive. We started April 4th and we ended it today, April 12th. We have 5 large boxes. The top donors get to go on a field trip with us to the Turlock Animal Shelter on Thursday. On April 8th, we had movie night. We watched Spider-Man No Way Home. This was the most people we've had for movie night this year. It was very well attended. This week, we're also doing an Easter egg hunt. Student Council hides 20 Easter eggs a day, and students hunt for them during lunch. They are filled with tickets to earn prizes. Tomorrow, the staff will be playing the 8th grade students in softball. The game is at 11. We have many fun things planned for May. We are currently holding an art contest, and the theme is Mayflowers. We are going to have the 5th graders visit the school. Student Council will show them around the school while staff give presentations, and they will have lunch at SMS. We are planning on having Kona eyes for students that have perfect attendance during the state testing. We have been working hard practicing for the test. Thank you for listening. We have brought some Easter eggs for you guys to enjoy. Have a good rest of your evening, and may everyone have a nice Easter.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Thank you.
I heard everybody screaming outside today as they were looking for the eggs, so I could hear them out the window.
Thank you.
Yes.
And sorry again, we're running late, girls. Make sure your homework's done tonight.
Thank you.
Moving on to 8.3, audit report. Stephanie, you want to introduce us to MD 3781?
We have an auditor joining us via Zoom to present the audit report for the 2020-21 audit season. His name is Mark. Mark, can you hear us?
Right behind, they probably thought we're done.
Oh,
There he is.
no, I was unmuted and I was muted and hidden, so I didn't realize it.
Perfect. Sorry, we're running a little bit behind, but it's your turn to shine.
All right, that happens. Does everyone have the PowerPoint presentation in front of them, or?
Yes.
Oh, you
We-
do? Okay, great. So I'll just start. I'm Mark. I'm one of the managers at the iBailey Fresno office, and I'm here to present your 2021 school district audit. I guess we'll just start and jump to page 2 of the PowerPoint. And always, we like to thank the superintendent and members of the board and district staff for inviting us to present. And a huge thank you to district staff at the office, at the school sites, child nutrition, really everyone in the district is involved in this audit. And it's a large process, and especially with COVID, there's quite a bit of work to get everything remote and to get the information. So really, we do appreciate everyone's help. And the audit process is really a year-long process. We usually start at the beginning of the year. We test school sites and we test state compliance, and we test internal control testing. So we'll look at things like payroll, how cash is receipted, and disbursements, how disbursements are approved, and make sure internal controls are in place. And then at final, we come back, or I guess this year we audited remote, and we look at the balance sheet items like accounts payable, cash. We look at long-term debt and capital assets. And then through all that testing, we then put together the final audit report and then submit it to the state controller's office. So within the audit report, we always have an opinion, which is on page 4 of the report. And there's 4 types of opinions, but the highest opinion is an unmodified opinion, which your report received. So that basically means we don't have any changes to the report. We don't have any qualifications. Everything looked good, and you were in compliance with the generally accepted accounting principles of the United States. And at the very back of the report is our section where we have findings. And that's usually the last 2 or 3 pages. And we noted no internal control findings, no federal findings, or no state findings. So in 2021, you truly had a clean audit. And page 4 of the slide, we'll start talking about what's in the audit report. And the audit report starts with management's discussion and analysis. And what that does, it gives management an opportunity to discuss what happened during the year. And it also does a comparison between the prior audit year and the current audit year. So it's a really great place to go and to see a comparison and to see how things have changed over the last year. And you can see over a couple of schedules, there's a couple lines where it says as restated. And what happened in the 2021 year, there was a new GASB that came out, GASB 84. And that moved the student body activity from a separate fiduciary fund into the governmental statements. So what the business office did is and what you did is you created a Fund 8 for student body activities. And since that wasn't in the prior year audit report, there needed to be a beginning balance adjustment to take the ending balance of cash from 1920 to the beginning balance of Fund 8 in 2021. So that was really the major change for all school districts in 2021. And then page 5 on my slideshow just talks about the audit report itself. Really, the first two statements, the statement of net position and the statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in net position on pages 12 and 13, those are two reports that you'll never see in your fund financial statements because they are created using a full accrual accounting. So what happens is all of the funds, so your general fund through the rest of your funds are consolidated into one financial statement. And it also brings in things like long-term debt and capital assets. So you can really see the district as a whole in these two statements. And then we do have the financial statements from pages 14 to 17. And then on page 18 starts the notes to financial statements, where if you have any questions about any of the account balances, you can go in and you can find more information. And just a summary of net position on page 6 of the slideshow. You have a positive net position of 5.4 million with a negative unrestricted balance of 6 million. And that negative balance really comes from your net pension obligation. And this is something that you'll see at most school districts throughout California. And this happened probably about 5 or 6 years ago due to GASB 80 or GASB 68. And that brought in your proportionate share of the district's STRS and PERS pension obligation and moved it onto the school district's books. And then page 7 was some fiscal year highlights. It looks like you had an increase in your general fund of about 1.2 million. And you spent about $1.3 million in CRF, SR, and gear funds. And available reserves ended at about 30.9%. So you do have a nice amount of available reserves. And that is the end of my presentation. If anyone had any questions.
I don't have any questions.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Stephanie, would you like to add anything? Would you like to add anything? All right. Moving on to 8.4, presentation, Keys to Learning Charter School A through G completion improvement grant plans. Ms. McGinnis.
Boom.
Kids the opportunity to be ready for a lot of different areas. So if you look at what they're looking at is how many of your students are completing A through G requirements and graduating there. So if you can see, last year we had 32% of KTL students have met those A through G requirements.
How does that factor? Because we go to all the graduations and sometimes they're really family industry or military. How does that fluctuate with their already decision when they started high school where they're going to go?
That's exactly why it's the numbers are reflected in that.
Yeah.
So we have some students that will come in and they'll tell you as a freshman, I just want to work with my parents on in our dairy.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. And they have no drive to go, So the plan is to, we want to set kids up so they have the opportunity. That's how I think of it. I don't think all kids are made to go into that. I don't think they need to, but I do think that they should be able to change their mind in those 4 years.
Yeah.
If they want to. So that's kind of where it goes. So the grant, the improvement plan is set to increase the number of California high school students graduating with this eligibility. So giving them the opportunity. The target is 9th through 12th grades, especially unduplicated students. And the funds are allocated based on enrollment. And basically we are getting $8,172, which is pittance, I know, but we have big plans.
Was it worth the report?
No, but yes, it was, of course it was. But there's, checks and balances. And then the part that got me was when it's through 25, 26. So that 8,000 is going to stretch out over quite a few years. So
Don't spend it all in one place.
yeah, exactly. Hopefully. So we plan to use the funds in a broad scheme, hopefully, as much as we can, partly. We want to do some professional development to improve the rates through tutoring and planning and counseling and things like that, to expand the coursework. Right now, the majority of our A through G classes are in our Key Academy, and I think our blend ed program needs to jump into that a little bit. So that's something that we'll be working on to increase those numbers in the blend ed program. So they have that opportunity as well. Right now, they don't. Our blend ed program does not have many A through G courses, which I didn't know that, but they don't. So I'm learning it. And then just partnering with families and local institutions like MJC and Merced to further those pathways and to offer that for students. So you can go ahead and flip it one more. So the way we're going to do this is by watching the number of students that are in the classes, how many students are on track, if they want to be, the percentages that are in, and things like that. And that's kind of how we'll just monitor how it's going.
What's the difference? Is it harder courses? Is it a little bit more structured? It's
supposed to be a little bit more rigorous. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And to get a course to be A through G approved, you have to apply to have it A through G approved. So you have to meet certain criteria. And, it just takes the teacher to submit that. And I think that's where we've kind of fallen short, is some of our teachers have done that and some have not. And so we'll be encouraging some more of that.
Yeah. And just to add that, I think what happens is, so if a student does not meet the A through G, this still does not mean that they can't apply. They will be accepted if there's room, but then they will have to be assigned remedial coursework or units that they really don't use towards graduation. They're remedial units, but it's still not impossible. So I think that's something we also have to share with kids, is that, sometimes they're not ready to make that commitment at the end of high school, and that's okay. But the more courses they take and get ready, the fewer they may have to take that don't really count towards anything.
I just think it's been interesting over the years when they graduate, you hear where they're going to go. And it's a roller coaster on what they choose. And I think it's great that they already have those plans as a 12th grader,
Yeah.
but it's like, sometimes it's 2 or 3 kids will go to college and sometimes 20.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things you just can't project. And
we've got an academic advisor, and she's meeting with every student and going down to freshmen. A lot of kids don't even know what any of this means.
yeah.
And so that's going to be a big push for us, is to just give them the information so they have the opportunities if they want them.
Very nice.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to 8.5, upcoming for next month, reclassification of English Fluent Proficient Awards. That's always a great one. And then retirees, which we don't always want people to retire. So moving on to 9, consent agenda items. Actions prepared for the consent calendar are consistent with adopted and approved policies of the district and are deemed routine in nature. They'll be acted upon in one motion without discussion unless members of the board request that an item be removed from the consent calendar. In that event, it'll be taken up in order indicated on the main agenda. 9.1 through 9.6. Any questions or concerns? Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll motion.
We have a first. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Moving on to item 10, 10.1, approval of certificated classified confidential management personnel action items. So we'll do 10.1, then we'll do 10.1.1. So do we have to approve 10.1?
I'll motion.
We have a first. Do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Moving on to 10.1.1. Resignation, agreement, and release of all claims. We have any questions or concerns? Motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
We have a first? We have a second? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Moving on to 10.2, public hearing for developer fee. We'll open that at 6:47. Ms. Morris?
This is a report that we generally do each year if the state decides to increase the dollar per square foot that we can charge for new permits for building. And so the fee went up quite a bit this year. I don't have the number in front of me. But we have the report put together so that we can charge the higher rate. And once you approve this, we have to wait 60 days. And then any new permits pulled after that point, we will get to collect on the higher rate. And Turlock School District is the one who collects the fees for us, and we split the fees with them. I think we get 64% and they get the other portion.
Is it because of the high school filler and all that?
Yeah. Any questions?
No? We'll close that at 6:48. Riveting conversation over it. Moving on to 10.3, approval of resolution 21-22-11, adoption of the 2022 developer fee studies. We have a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
We have a first, we have a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Moving on to 10.4, approval of expanded learning opportunities program plan. Mr. Brazil?
And that is the plan for expending the state funds and federal funds. What we are going to use our funds, actually, most of these are state funds, not federal funds, but they are going to be used to extend the summer school. For example, we are engaging with ACES, who will provide the extra hours beyond 12:30 for the students to complete a total of 9 hours per day. It's going to be kind of our trial run as we move into the new school year. This funding we have to offer it to all students in order to collect the funding. However, it does not mean that everyone has to attend, which sounds terrible because we could have people sitting with no kids to engage or do anything with to make the total of 9 hours on campus. But we are going to work very hard. I am so appreciative of ACES, and they have been willing to work with us and put together some activities that the kids because they have to be academic enrichment activities that I think the kids will really enjoy, but yet feel like they're having fun. So we're working with that, and we appreciate them. And so this plan kind of details what our partnerships are and how we intend to use it, both for summer school, perhaps using it for intersession during the holidays. The problem with that, obviously, is staffing, finding people who are willing to work through some of those breaks. But if we do not meet the total number of days required, then we're only funded on that amount that we actually were able to do.
All right.
So I'm just asking the board to approve it.
Any questions or concerns? We have a motion to approve.
I'll motion.
We have first, we have a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Moving on to 10.5, approval of expanded learning opportunities grant plan. Mr. Brazil?
It's the same exact thing. It's just two different documents, but they're on the same thing.
All right. Motion to approve.
I'll motion.
We have a first. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Moving on to item 10.6, approval of universal pre-K Keys Union School District and Keys to Learning Charter School Plan. Mr. Brazil?
So this is the plan that the district has submitted to be in line and to allow we were very fortunate. We were already, both the charter and the regular district were already providing transitional kindergarten. So this is the governor's and also the federal move to truly look at providing kids opportunities to engage in academics and in the learning process as early as possible. So what this does is allows us to get funding for TK. However, we have to adhere to standards of staffing, which at this moment are 24-2. They will end up being 20-2 by the full implementation, which is, I believe, 25-26 school year. I'm not quite sure of that exact year, but it is over a 3-year period. It's what I presented to all of you kind of based on what we think our numbers are going to look like. And so this is both for the charter and for the district.
And is that adults or credentialed teachers?
It is credentialed teachers for the one. The second does not have to be. And they are working on some legislation. In fact, this afternoon, some stuff came from the state about the opportunities that the Commission on Teacher Credentialing is providing for people to be credentialed for that age level. So they're going to make some exceptions and change the program a little because the problem is going to be staffing.
Yeah.
Because you do have to have a credentialed person.
Yeah.
So.
All right, thank you. Any other questions, concerns? We have a motion to approve? We have a first, do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Moving on to 10.7, approval of 2021-22 summer school rate of pay, CTA and CSCA salary schedule. Mr. Brazil?
So this is to continue to increase the rate of pay for summer school so that we have staffing to be able to provide the summer school program. So we are trying to be as competitive as we can with other districts. And so we've asked both CSCA and CTA to approve our per diem rate or our 250 for certificated and then classified some stipends for individuals, for example, in the office to support because the individual may also be working during that month anyway. So this would be an additional stipend to support summer school. So that's why we go to both of the unions to ask for their.
Thumbs up from both?
Yep.
All right, any questions or concerns? Motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
First, do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Moving on to 10.8, approval of CSCA MOU extension. We do this every month. Mr. Brazil?
So it is once again, that I have met with the union representative from CSEA, and we are in agreement to extend the MOU for another month.
All right. Motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
We have a first, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Moving on to 10.9, approval of revision to COVID MOU between KTA and KUSD.
And the reason why this is a revision is because we agreed to an amount for compensating teachers for their additional work having to deal with students who were both on independent study and those who were quarantined, which require, so that's why we're bringing the MOU to you again for approval.
All right. Questions, concerns? Motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
We have a first, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Moving on to item 10.10, approval of 2022-23 Couchman data service. We've used her for as long as I can remember. Mr. Brazil?
So we're asking that you approve this. Carol Couchman takes care of all of our CalPads. She is truly an expert on Aries. Also, she had worked for Aries for a number of years, has great connections with it. She does our CalPads, which is basically taking information from our Aries student information system and then getting it uploaded and to meet the requirements of CalPads, which is the California system of student information. It is many times down. It is many times frustrating, and she has increased her fees a little bit this year, and I totally support her doing so. The amount of more time she has had to do, particularly dealing with independent study in the AB1, whatever it was. So I'm asking that she's amazing. I'm worried that when she retires, we will. I don't think it will be a service we can find outside. I think it's going to have to be something that someone is hired full-time to do. And she does it, granted, from home, but she works very hard and keeps us apprised of everything. She knows her stuff. So I'm asking that we approve her contract.
We used to do it in-house, and then she would do a little bit and then a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, and she just took it over.
Well,
So,
when CalPATS first started, it was kind of, I think all of us thought we could handle it.
yeah,
And then it grew to be a nightmare.
all right.
Still is.
Motion to approve? We have a first, do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Moving on to 10.11, approval of MOU between local educational agencies of the Stanislaus County Special Education Local Plan Area, better known as SELPA.
So this is an MOU to secure the services that we require as a small district and attaining those from the SELPA, which is our special education. That they act as kind of the one shop and then provide services outside of that. And so this is our agreement to partake in those services.
And we have no choice to say yes.
No, we need to, and yeah.
Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll motion.
We have a first, do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
And just for public disclosure, I sit on the executive board and will be the chair next year. So
Oh, he says
that's
that
not why
after we
you're-
voted.
Well, no, but
He said it after we
I have to-
voted.
I have to state that so anyway.
All right. You're lucky we share you with everybody. Moving on to 10.12, approval of new revised board policy and administrative regulations from item 9.6. It's just the checks and balances. We're now voting on it twice. So we approved in 9.6. I'd hope we approve it now. Any questions or concerns? Motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
We have a first. We have a second.
I'll second.
I'm gonna give this one to Jeff. He was a second. You guys are eyeing each
I would
other.
have went Mike.
Oh, you want to go,
I
Mike?
would have went Mike.
Dana, what do you want to do? You want to give that to
Oh,
Mike or Jeff? He got Mike.
I heard myself.
Mike got it.
All right.
So we got a first from Jimmy, a second from Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Jeff, you should have voted no. Moving on to discussions, 11.1 ESER 3. It can't possibly be more
Yeah,
information.
well, there really is not. It's just something that we do tend to look at that plan and we'll make changes as we go along. For example, we're meeting with the architect later on this week, and there may be some projects or things that we need to change and make sure that they are covered in the plan. But it's meant to be that kind of a plan, to be looked at and reviewed and changes made and then reported out. So nothing real, no real changes at this point anyway.
All right, moving on to 11.2 SMS track/field committee meeting. Jimmy, hold your turn.
Come on. Let's hear it.
Well, we had a meeting with the committee that has worked really hard to get that going. We are waiting for the architect. So as I said, we're meeting with them later on this week. We were waiting for them to kind of take us to the next steps because we'd like to get it moving and get it worked on. So Eric is fully aware of, and I believe Stephanie, we're meeting on Thursday with the architect. So we're ready to go.
Sounds good.
And everybody seemed obviously everybody was happy and pleased and was very enthusiastic about the possibilities. You know, it may not be the perfect track but it really looks, it's neat to see the architects or the
drawing.
the drawings that I'm trying to say what the architect is.
Blueprints.
Yeah. Landscape architect has put together. They really do look very neat. And that area, it's incredible to see the different slopes and just that is a huge field and you don't really get an
Very big.
idea of it until you're walking through it. So I'm excited for it. And I think it will be a
Me
great,
More important question, was Jimmy okay with it? And is he off your back?
Jimmy was okay, but
Thumbs up.
well, he checks in every day and he lets me know if he doesn't like it.
All right, moving on to superintendent report.
Okay, I have, we believe we've hired an art teacher for the coming school year. So that's exciting because now we've got music and art. I agree. We're still looking for a 7th grade teacher to hire. The LCAP plan is continuing to be worked on and our community partners, students, parents, and staff input is being incorporated into the document. We have a meeting scheduled with the architect on Thursday. We'll talk about the multiple projects and kind of what we're going to put in terms of priority, what goes out first or second. And sites are continuing to address the chronic absenteeism. It's just is what it is. It's definitely something that's being echoed across the state. It is not unique to California or certainly to the Valley. The kids are just missing more school than we've ever seen. And I think part of it is they feel that year and a half was of disengagement. It's going to take some time to get them back. Summer school planning has now been turned over to the summer school principal. Mr. Murray is going to be finishing that up. wanted to share that the charter WASC visit went very well. I wish to thank Jill and the entire charter family for all their work. It really was not, I felt like that was an amazing team, but they came to see amazing things. And I think the staff, it was just, I truly feel that was a great experience. And normally WASC is not a great experience. It's kind of traumatic. And I know it was for poor Jill. She's still recovering, but it was great. And I really want you to know that for a first year, having to do all that, you did great. And they appreciated it. Now, it's very, very nice. We've been able to conduct interviews and fill most of our open positions. I think we're down to, I believe, five.
Knock on
that
wood,
we're-
that's going to change.
That could change tomorrow, I don't know. So I think that's been very helpful for us to have gone to the Stanislaus County Teacher Recruitment Fair. I think that really did help. And I think we're seeing a little bit of a turn of people actually beginning to apply for things. The helicopter landing on April 1st was very successful. I want to thank Mr. Murray for the hard work in getting that plan. The kids really did love it. And I thought it was a great opportunity for us to have our law enforcement partners showcased and kids learning about it. I think it was incredible, even in the sense if we think about career readiness and kids looking at that might be something that I want to do, or law enforcement, and how much more there is than just on the beat, regular police force kind of thing. We'll be celebrating students at our next meeting. We're going to recognize all the students who have been reclassified as English proficient students, and that is a very big deal. I mean, these kids are, we're saying that they have met the requirements set forth by the state, that we can state that they are fluent English proficient, and they are no longer English as a second language learners. We certainly hope that they retain their primary language as well and celebrate that. We'll also be so we're going to have some refreshments, probably cookies and water for the students. And then we'll also be bringing forth the retirees to share with them a little bit of a token of our appreciation. And I want to wish everyone a great Easter and a relaxing week off as we head towards that time of year. I think we're the last few districts in this state that haven't already been on Easter break. Most of them have had it all over the place. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Nope. All right, moving on to board member comments. Mr. Emmons?
Well, I'd like to say we had the opportunity to meet with the WASP group to come in and check out the charter. I thought it was a pretty pleasant experience. You know, they were really nice people, and they had an opportunity to see how nice our charter is, the way I look at it. I think they agreed with me on that. And it was very nice. And this paw print is very informative too. I like this. It's got a lot of information about the school for Spratling, and they did a good job. I like that a lot. I'm excited for all the things coming up. Our field, track, whatever. But,
I'll pause for
The
that.
graduations, everything. This is the good part of being on a board. You get to see all the kids graduate and go to the banquets and do well. Everybody have a nice Easter.
Thank you. Mr. Burnell?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank the staff for all their hard work and wishing them a happy Easter and them to enjoy their time with their family and friends.
Thank you. Mr. Greener?
No comment today.
All right, got several like always. Great time with the helicopter. What I was most impressed with was how well the students behaved while out on the field and how they sat exactly where they were supposed to until the helicopter landed. They waited their turn. That was great. And it was fun to check in with some parents and stuff too, that we haven't seen in a while. 3 of us went on a walkthrough. That was really great. It was fun to be back on campus and seeing kids and
Got that one.
walking into a classroom getting yelled at. I don't know which Jeff's more popular, but we take it every time one yells Jeff. The WASC went really well. All 4 of us were there with Mr. Brazil, and we were only allotted 20 minutes and we took 50. So that just shows how well the board is aware of the charter school and how much we support it
On a Sunday.
on a Sunday. But I really enjoyed the different demographics the WASC came from, and they were able to share, and we were able to share. And then we walked out to a whole bunch of parents and students excited about the same process we just went through. They probably weren't happy they were waiting on us, but we got to sell this show. And then, like Jimmy said, the paw print, I forgot the last board meeting, we got our last paw print, and it's kind of one of those things that gets back to normal. It's exciting to read through the kids, how they see this, the school. The Jimmy's track that he always brings up. I want to thank Eric for the blueprints. He's worked a lot with the landscape designer, but this is what he's done his whole life. He understands groundkeeping and trees and grass and all that stuff that's way over our head. And I think he's really put us in a better situation by having that background. With the walkthrough and the assembly, it was really great to see the music teacher in action. And he's super excited, which about 60 students already signed up at the middle school, mostly for guitar, just like what we thought, but they're going to get it. And last thing was the EL when they come here, and it's such an important thing to see them. Their families are so excited. They're so excited. But when they get to middle school and when they get to high school, it makes their education so much easier and better, because if they get into high school as an English learner, they really can't take many two electives. So it really pushes how they go through high school. And it's really amazing to see them graduate here, knowing that they can go to middle school and high school, being able to choose electives. And as a board, not knowing that, that was the most special thing. For the parents, it's a huge reward, and it's a good show that they really show the support at home and the school. All right, next board meeting will be, I'll just say, I bet you Wes shows up on Thursday to an empty thing. Next board meeting will be May 10th. Closed session's 5:30. Regular session will be at 6. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion.
We have a first. Do we have a second?
I second.
Well, we can stay here all night. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching.
Yep.